Welcome to the 868. Let's talk tourism. Tourism operators like Brown Girl Tours do far more than sell tours. They're effectively ambassadors for Trinidad and Tobago's culture, environment, and service economy. These types of experiences help visitors discover places that traditional tourism often overlooks, such as wetlands, forests, rivers, villages, local food, bird watching sites, and cultural communities. How does tourism help Trinidad and Tobago? A very fundamental question. Tourism creates value in 4 major ways. First, via foreign exchange earnings. Visitors bring foreign currency into the country while supporting local guides, drivers, restaurants, guest houses, artisans, and small businesses. Tourism tends to keep more tourism spending within the local communities than large resort-based tourism. Secondly, it supports SMEs. A single tour can generate revenue for tour guides, for taxi operators, for farmers, for food vendors, craft makers, accommodation providers, and even event organizers. This aligns strongly with the growth of Trinidad and Tobago's services sector and SME development. The third point is it protects our natural assets. When communities earn income from wetlands or forests or bird sanctuaries or turtle nesting on beaches and rivers, they have a financial incentive to conserve rather than exploit them. Studies on Trinidad's River Swamp highlight ecotourism as a tool for conservation and community development. The fourth point is that it diversifies our economy. TNT has long relied on energy. Tourism helps diversify income streams through services, something I always harp on, hospitality, and experiences, creating more resilient and economic opportunities. But to better understand this, we must quickly look at the statistics. Globally, travel and tourism generated approximately 10% of the world GDP and supported nearly 348 million jobs in 2024. We already know the services sector accounted for approximately 59.2% of TNT's GDP in 2024. Tourism growth in Trinidad and Tobago is very important. And so TNT welcomed approximately 370,000 visitors in 2025, which is an 11% increase over 2024. The total visitor arrivals reached 373,027 in 2025, showing continued recovery and growth after the pandemic. During Carnival 2026 alone, over 54,000 international visitors arrived between January 1st and February 14th, a 13% increase over the same period in 2025. The 2025-26 cruise season brought 23,961 cruise passengers and 10,723 crew members, with crew passenger arrivals increasing by 36% year over year. For the 868 podcast, Brown Girl Tours is exactly the type of SME success story that demonstrates how services can generate growth without exporting a physical product. A company like Brown Girls Tours is not simply a tourism business. It is a services export enterprise that converts TNT's natural beauty, culture, and heritage into economic opportunity while supporting conservation, community development, and national branding. It is exactly the type of SME that can help diversify TNT beyond oil and gas while strengthening the country's international image. I've given you my thoughts on Brown Girl, but I am not its owner or manager. So welcome Sharon G. Farrell to the 868. How can we empower Brown Girl Tours?
Well, God, thank you so much for that introduction, Daren. And I'm happy to be here this morning. So let's talk Brown Girl Tours and let's talk tourism. To understand Brown Girl Tours and the concept that I came up with at Brown Girl Tours, we need to take a look at, step back and look at my path in getting here. So I would have worked in corporate for about 30 years. After the pandemic of 2020, 2021, by 2022 I was tired, and I felt that there was something that was more needed in the market, and I looked towards tourism. In doing that, I tell people I jumped into tourism without a parachute. And I created this company along the lines of Brown Girl Tours. Brown Girl itself and the name is supposed to look at addressing not just the female element in the market, but also looking at the diaspora. There are many brown girls outside there that want to come in and have a tour and, and enjoy themselves. I would have finished my certification in 2023. And during the 2023 to 2024, before I started the company, I recognized that a lot of people were taking tours that they didn't want. So you would have booked a Port of Spain to Maracas tour, and they didn't want to do that. They wanted to not go on the beach or even learn anything about Port of Spain. I had guests who simply wanted to take a drive. So they booked a tour. They wanted to come out of their hotels. So my concept of Brown Girl was to create what I call a tailor-made tour.
You're bespoke.
I am bespoke. I am bespoke. Tailor-made to your needs. So you're booking a tour that gives you that experience, the exact experience that you want. A bespoke tour. Very new to our region, because concierge travel here is not something that is a big thing. We don't do that. But yeah, I offer a bespoke tour.
What was the last tour you did like?
Oh, my last tour. I had a gentleman that came from the UK, and he wanted an experience, a waterfall.
We have many of those.
And we have many of those. So I took him to Arepo Blue.
Ah.
Yes. So Arepo has several waterfalls, and most people stop at the large pond, what we call the Arepo Pond, which is at the bottom. No, we went a little further up and we went higher to Arepo Blue.
So the gentleman from the UK was very adventurous.
Very adventurous. He wanted that experience. So I gave him that experience. That tour entailed walking through the watercress fields and heading into the forest. And so he was excited. He was blown away by that.
Given our erratic weather, how did that impact? Was the waterfall free-flowing?
It was, at that point in time.
So you lucked out in that, but you're properly planned.
Definitely. Once you're going into any of these areas, particularly with waterfalls, you need to look at your weather conditions, what is coming in, what is not coming in. And for me, I do not go alone. I always have a trained professional, hiking professional that goes with me.
So you are a tag team.
Tag team.
So the gentleman from the UK, he got to experience something that perhaps, I would say maybe 80% of us in Trinidad don't do it, and we're already living in this space.
That's true.
I often recall when I was a teenager, I was in Scouts in Queens Royal College. And so my two best friends, they are very adventurous. We tend to do things a little different. So even when we were doing bronze medallion and gold medallion for Scouts, and you had to hike or row to Scotland Bay, those things were adventures for us. But they started taking a liking to the waterfalls and the hiking and the hashing. And so they invited me one day, and I will never forget it. Actually, the young lady who chose to accompany us, she still reminds me to this day on Facebook. She doesn't live here. But she reminded me that the miserable young brown boy, went to the top of the waterfall. I think back then we may have went to Blue Basin, and he pushed her off the waterfall.
Oh my. Oh my.
And so there's always a running joke about it. But I say this to say, had it not been for my brothers, my friends and comrades, I would not have started to experience Trinidad and Tobago in all of its glory. Had it not been for them, whenever I was planning conferences or anything that you had to do in your professional setting to let somebody embrace and understand Trinidad and Tobago, I would not have been able to better understand it. I think part of it also was the Scouts. Scouts allowed us to appreciate, and I wish this generation would start to see it, put down the devices and go out, see what is outside, see what nature in all its glory does for us.
Yes.
I mean, you think that we have Asa Wright, we have the Pitch Lake, we have so many marvelous things. We have my daughter's school, for example, they took us to the river swamp.
To the swamp, yeah.
And they were just amazed, even before the boats went off, at the crabs right there by the jetty. And so I asked myself, well, are we failing our generation? This is an internal question. And this is where you come in so paramount, because you are a service that allows people to see it all.
And you're right. I think there, and you're saying 80%, I would push it even higher. I would tell you almost 85, if not 90% of Trinidadians have never experienced Trinidad. When I came into tour guiding, when I did the the certification program in tour guiding, one of the things that I recognized is that I myself did not understand the country, the layout of the land, and what we had in terms of some of the more beautiful sites in Trinidad. So it was a process for me as well, because I needed to understand and go out there and look at not just the Pitch Lake, but some of the other more beautiful sites like the mud volcanoes. I've never been to a mud volcano prior to this.
Well, I have never been to one either. And I see it all the time on social media, and I keep saying I would go. I've never been to Icarcus.
Never.
I have not ventured that far.
Well, Icarcus is a lovely place in terms of if you want to start your touring, because Icarcus is a straight drive, but there is so much history embedded in the Cedros and Icarcus area. Or I had a tour there in January, and in doing the research, Icarcus is one of those places that we had a hurricane. There was a hurricane that hit that part of the island somewhere around the 1930s and decimated the coconut industry down there. So that is a nice place to start. It's a lovely drive, it's very scenic, and you get the history, you get a lot of the scenic views of that part of the island. But you know, it's coming in again. I would have started coming out of Brongil tours of nice little, I call it a group gathering of older people called Know Your Country for the junior seniors. The junior seniors, they tell me that they are not old enough to be called seniors. They are still junior in their behavior and mannerisms, so they consider themselves to be junior seniors. And once a month, we do exactly going out and visit a part of the island. We go out, we get into our bus, and we just simply go and see some element of the island that a lot of them have not seen in their lives.
So we talked a lot about Trinidad, but what has Brongil's Tours done in our sister isle of Tobago?
Not much as yet. So Tobago has a different setup in terms of how they deal with tour guides. So you have to be under the THA.
Okay.
Right? So I haven't done much in terms of doing tours to Tobago. I would have ventured and did it last year with that same junior senior group, but I would have taken a Tobago tour guide there and have him explain the whole concept. There's something very, I wouldn't like to use the word wrong, that a Trinidad and Tobago tour guide cannot operate in Tobago, but a Tobago tour guide can operate in Trinidad.
Well, that sounds like politics that we don't want to touch.
Yeah, there's something wrong in the construct, but yeah, you can go into Tobago. I have been able to take a group into Tobago, and we have experienced Tobago on a one-day Tobago tour.
Well, I want to come back to 2 points. Mm-hmm. The genesis of Brongil, and the fact that you said one of your guests, one of your clients came from the UK. Are they stigmatized by such a strong name?
Actually, no. I have had persons actually sought me out because of the name of the company.
Very good.
They have sought it out because it's unique. I remember when I came up with the name Brongil, it was laughter, peals of laughter. Everyone was telling me that is not a name for a tour company. Brown Girl, what kind of name is that? What kind of name would you come up with as a Brown Girl for a tour company? And I had to defend the name Brown Girl on several occasions, and sort of kind of guide people into my vision of what the concept of a Brown Girl tour would have been. It's still a work in progress, it still is.
So let me ask a question. What percentage of your client base is foreigners, you would say?
At this point in time, I would tell you possibly around 70%.
So most of your business comes from outside?
Most of my business comes from outside.
And most of your business is paid in the foreign currency?
It's paid in foreign currency.
So you're one of the success stories as a service provider.
Well, we will define success another point in time, but yes, let me say yes. Yes.
Let me tell you why. The Ministry of Trade, and I've had some experience with them. First of all, it's a female-owned and led organization. Mm-hmm. It is generating Forex. You remember we cited the 4 prongs?
Yes.
You are fitting into all 4 of the prongs. And you sit down there quietly doing what you do. And that's an important thing. And that's an important lesson for all of us as services providers, but more importantly for those in the tourism world. I know, wearing another hat, I was involved with Titua and Lauren Pouchet and her group. I know all of them. I know from the hotels to the tourism side. And I know they are all trying to champion and get their share of the pie, because it's one big mega ministry now. It's trade, investment, and tourism. And I understand well why the architects of this government have put them correlated. My only hope is that tourism is not lost in the zeal for exports of trade. And then when we look at it, as I quoted, Carnival being our most important product for the GDP, we have to understand well what confronts us as a country.
Agreed.
And from your bespoke model, and so let's talk about the bespoke element of it. You are not constricted into eco or financial tourism. Many people do not understand tourism has so many layers and so many niche categories. But what you are telling me this morning is that you can carve whatever someone wants and meet their demands.
Yes.
So if we were in another hat, media, mm-hmm. We had the IFEX down here, we had IPI conferences. I know there have been Caribbean Water conferences. Mm-hmm. There have been so many conferences. They then solicit you to give the localized experience. And drawing from that, even as I said, Lauren Pouchet, that is where I met her actually. When I want to believe it's one of those media conferences was held in Trinidad, Ms. Pouchet was hired to give that experience. And back then, right around the corner on Tragrit Road, the Woodbrook Carib Playboys were right there. Mm-hmm. And she hosted them with muko jumbies, and the foreigners were thrilled, the local drinks, everything was in your face and showing you the culture of who we are, representing that red, white, and black. So coming back to you, Brown Girl Tours, what is your outlook for the next 5 years?
So my outlook in terms of Brown Girl, I would like to see my business grow and develop and bloom. I see tourism in Trinidad and Tobago at a very pivotal point, and the tourism sector actually growing within the next 2 to 3 years. I would like to be part of that growth process. I have seen myself, so let me take Brown Girl Tours. Now, when I started the company, it was Brown Girl Tours TT, and that still exists to a point. Last year, I dropped the TT, and it's simply Brown Girl Tours. And I dropped the TT so that I can now go regional with my brand. not locking it into the TT element of it. So for me, next 5 years, I would like to see a brown girl within the other islands. I would like to see brown girl a little bit more established within the islands of Trinidad and Tobago as well. I would like to see that. I would like to see my own self having more of an input in terms of the tourism sector in Trinidad and Tobago. I would like that. I would like to take part of my base knowledge and be able to help promote or develop tourism in Trinidad and Tobago. That's where I see myself, and that's where I see my company within that 5-year period.
That's a good dream. That's good aspirations. And I like how you understood well to pivot from rebrand yourself all in one go. So having dropped the TT, have you had any luck throughout the Caribbean?
Not as yet. I am looking and working on getting my my SME certification, right, so that I can actually go up the islands. That's step 1 or 2. Brown Girl Tours TT started off as a sole trader. We are now a limited liability company, so I've taken the step of moving the business into that sphere. And of course, SMA certification is going to come, and I'm going to move the business up. So the business has grown significantly from when we started a few years ago.
Sharon, these are some success stories that we don't see. Part of this tourism thing is the media. We, the media, always have a pivotal role in how the world sees us. I'll always see us. People look at it from the camera perspective, but I look at it from a telescope perspective. Because there's the big side and the small side. When you're looking from the small side, you're seeing the world. But when you're in reverse, the world is seeing you.
That's right.
And under that microscope, under that scope, everything that you do matters or affects you. And so even when you look at what the headlines of the papers are, or what the headlines of the evening news is, how does that affect foreigners when they call you?
Actually, that doesn't.
No one calls and asks?
Now, last year at the beginning of the SOE, you found that the visitors were cautious. Why are we having an SOE? What does that mean for them in terms of their levels of safety? And once we were able to come, provide that proper information in terms of exactly what our SOE is about and what is happening, you found that we had that a calming of sort of our visitors coming in. You yourself said it at the beginning of the podcast in terms of even in the SOE, we have had an exceptional growth for Carnival, an increase in the amount of persons that came here for Carnival, for that Carnival period. So the various bulletins really have not swayed many people in terms of coming to Trinidad, and have not really swayed us in terms of tour operators and getting business coming in. As much as that slowed down a bit, it simply has not stopped. I'll say this, there has never been a visitor on record who would have come here on a tour and experienced something in the presence of a tour operator or in presence of a tour guide that was negative. We have not had that. There's nothing like that has ever been reported. We have, in terms of our safety, dealing with any form of crisis or dealing with anything it has to deal with our tourists, we have never found that. Yes, there are stories of places being mugged, but they would have come in as tourists on their own, never under the umbrella body of a tour operator.
So as a concierge, are you responsible for booking them into hotels?
Oh, yes.
Are you responsible for buying the tickets for wherever they want to go?
Yes.
So you are a full, non-stop package from the moment they land to receive them to the moment they're leaving our shores?
Yes. So when someone contacts me for a tour, it's not a today for tomorrow. It can never be today for tomorrow. If there's a process that we go through, we have to identify hotel where you want to stay in terms of and the length of time you want to stay. These are the dates that you are coming in. the booking has to happen. What are the tours that you want to do? And they will go through that listing that I will send for them. They select what it is they want, and then we refine it. So it takes a while before we can have a package done up to send. So the service includes a pickup in the airport, taking them to their hotel. Every time they go out, wherever it is that we are going out and agree to go out, my business handles the pickup, the drop back, the entry fees, the lunch, the refreshments. So when you book, you're booking an entire package, one-stop shop.
So what is the lead time between the first conversation to booking to coming?
I would like to say at least a month. At least a month. Most people would know that they are already coming. So I've had persons book in since last year. I have a group coming in August, and they booked me last year, September. And we have been working through the program since that point in time.
What are the things that they ask for? You don't have to call the brand name. We expect them here at the 868 to pay for those things. But, I mean, I'll give an example. They ask a bacon shack, I'm sure.
Of course. It's part and parcel of your packaging. They would like on our North Coast run to stop for bacon shack. Some people tend to want to be on the beach for a while, so we get the beach chairs out for them. I try to incorporate Paramin and the La Vigie Lookout once we're doing Maracas, so they go up there as well. And other than that, what I try to do is to support a lot of the local businesses, a lot of the moms and pops. So the pie man here or the chow person there, those type of little add-ons, they love that, to immerse themselves in the culture and immerse themselves into the communities. They love that.
So, well, I am part of a group called North Coast Jazz also.
Right.
And our major driver was domestic tourism for specifically the North Coast, for Blanchisseries and environs, and creating a bed and breakfast industry there. Because ultimately, it is amongst that community is the only driver towards that success. And you know, as you're speaking, I was thinking something similar that is done. I took a shuttle recently to Toko, and without fail, you stop at Arthur's. Without fail, you stop by the chow man. Without fail, you stop by the ice cream vendors.
Yes.
And so the sequence is there. It's a recipe that we don't have to unlearn or relearn. But the question is, when will our people understand the value of what we are living amongst? And the better second question is, how better can we meet or reach out to the foreigners to ensure that they keep coming in?
Right. So in terms of our people understanding value, that is a whole reset in terms of thinking, ideologies, and understanding that we do have a product. We have a product. And that is something, like I said, we have to kind of work our way towards. It's not going to be immediate, but it's something that we work towards. We have a product, we have a very distinct product that we need to add some love into, right? In terms of our visitors coming in, I don't see much in terms of our visitors needing to have that explanation, because many of them already come knowing what they want from Trinidad. They come here knowing, because they would have done their research. Trust me, they do their research prior to, so they know what it is they want to come and experience. You as the operator now needs to really enhance, if for a better choice of word, that experience. When they leave Trinidad, it must be an unforgettable experience where they can say to themselves, okay, I have had this wonderful experience on this island. Listen, I'm going to tell my cousin, I'm going to tell a sister and auntie and uncle, come to Trinidad.
What's your parting words to Trinidad, the diaspora, the Caribbean?
Come home. Come home and experience Trinidad. Experience our island in a way that you may have never experienced before. There's so much history here that we need to unpack and understand, and so much beautiful and so much beauty in our islands that we really would like you to come home and enjoy it, even in carnival period and outside of carnival. You know, come home, come and have that experience. It's here, it's waiting for you.
You've just listened to Sharon G. Farrell of the Brown Girl Tours. This is the 868, and my parting words at the end of this podcast is this. How many of us know that Trinidad is famous for mountain bike riding? I have a cousin, and it's only through them that I am able to see through their eyes on YouTube how adventurous they can be, and they do it all in a night. And I'm hearing that there are foreigners who come in just to experience mountain bike riding in our mountains. Trinidad and Tobago, there's a lot that you can unpackage. There's a lot that you can do domestically. There's a lot you can do by your part by encouraging folks to patronize Brown Girl Tours, patronize all our local vendors, support them and bring the numbers in. This is the 868, and as usual, my parting words to you are, remember, the only way to the other side is through. I have been Daren Lee Sing. Thank you for watching.